Hey, Louis, Taj, how you doing?
How you doing, Dave?
Doing good, doing good.
Hey Dave, how you
Uh,
doing?
good, good. How's the agency world?
Kicking
Um,
our butt.
What exactly is kicking your butt?
It's like putting out fires, right? It's like
Uh,
team fulfillment, finances.
oh
It's
yeah,
like
I hear ya.
bunches up.
Yeah, yeah.
for me, I'm looking into, putting together a team, so I got a few people that I'm looking at. So basically I'm just trying to get prepared, for that part, because I know it's a few things that I need to learn, before I take that on.
And welcome, Maximilian. How you doing?
Hey, hey, what's going on, Dave?
Doing good, doing good. Yeah. How are
Um,
you doing in your agency?
I'm good. I'm only a couple of few weeks into this agency U situation.
Yeah.
I have two or three active retainer clients, social media,
Okay.
and I'm at the same time of fulfilling on those, I'm working on, developing these scalable offers and about to jump into my first momentum campaign and launch sequence, like prospect interview
Nice.
and all that. And I was wondering, I kind of also at the same time want to offload some of my current workload, like video editing and social media management, over to Agency U Edits. So that's something that I was thinking about this week. So I'm wondering if you have any insight on that.
Not too much. I haven't been too involved in that. I think the best person to talk to would be either Austin, or yeah, I think Austin. Austin probably would be the best for the AU edits side of things.
Okay. And sort of related to, I know this is the talent acquisition call. I definitely do want a creative director because video editing and posting could be managed by AU Edits, but I still need someone on the front end doing strategy and ideation.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily want to do that for all my clients. What would be your perspective on finding that creative director who could really strategize for social media?
Ooh, yeah, that's definitely a lot more challenging in that regards. Well, right now we're it's just you in the agency, right?
It's me, and then I subcontract. I do have a video editor that I use, but they're a little expensive right now.
Okay.
So yeah, but that's about it. I
So
contact videographers sometimes too locally.
yeah, yeah. So my recommendation in this case is to hold off on that. You're just in the beginning because there's a few reasons, right? It's not just the financial. The financial is a big piece, right? It's going to be very expensive to find a creative director, or they will become your business partner, right? It's just like one or the other in a creative agency like this. My recommendation is to hold off. Another reason for that, not just the financial aspect, is that you're just starting. So you're still trying to figure out what's your style, right? What's your niche? Who do you serve, right? And even if you, let's say you find a partner now or a creative director now, you're still going to have to work through those kinks, right? And if you don't have that for yourself, you're going to spend more time, more money going through that. So I recommend as much as it sucks right now, but in retrospect, you don't have a ton of clients yet. That's a good thing, right? So you can work, you can kind of figure all that out, and then once you have a good idea of, okay, this is where my agency's at, this is kind of like our niche, this is our focus, and we have a huge portfolio of what clients know what they're going to get when they work with us, then it'll be much, much easier to find that creative director person to help you. Does that make sense? Well, let's get started. Hopefully, I can kind of help you guys out a little bit more. Kind of get so today's session is about learn how my CSMs put my agency on autopilot. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and And I feel your pain, like Lewis, you mentioned earlier, yeah, putting out fires and it's a lot of work and it can be really, really stressful. I totally get it. I've been there and but nowadays it's much I feel like I'm in a better place. And it's a big thanks to my CSMs, and of course the rest of my team. And so today, I'm what I try to do is I try to avoid the fluff, right? I'm gonna go more high level, like what is a CSM? So, and then we'll go into detail. I'll give you exactly what our CSMs do. Okay, all the way down to you can see what our SOPs are. Okay, so there will be some more tactical pieces. So you may not have a CSM now. So quick, I guess raise of hand or you can chat. Do you have a CSM? Anyone have a CSM?
Nope.
And that's fine. So uh, after this call, you know what a CSM. Yeah, you're right, Lewis. We always, we are the CSM when we first start. Um, so this is a next segue of question for everyone. Who currently ensures your clients are taken care of on a day-to-day basis? And you can be honest, like, oh, day to day, I don't talk to my clients, until they call me. Oh, okay, that is a option, right? Faith, right? Yeah. Hope the clients take care of themselves. Who ensures that the clients are taken care of day to day? Okay. Yeah, Lewis says Faith, Maximilian says me, right? Clients will call me when they need me. That's another one, right? They'll call me. They'll let me know when they need help. That is one big thing that the CSMs will be helping out with. Okay, and you'll see more as we go deeper into the session. So real quick, I think most of us already know me, so I'll do a quick intro. I'm the founder of Design Source Media and DSM Talent. Been running my agency since 2011. Actually, we'll hit our 13-year anniversary next month. Agency owner, agency member, currently managing a team of 13 for my web agency side. And I'm a husband, father of 3 kids. So today's agenda, what we'll go over is what is a CSM, why have a CSM, what does a CSM do, overall impact, should you hire a CSM, the costs, and where to find a CSM. Okay. So what is a CSM? A customer success manager. Okay, so they are the bridge between the clients and the company. Okay, so they're focused on ensuring clear communication. The CSM is very proactive in solving problems for the clients. The client may be asking a lot of questions, and these are things that you're already familiar with, right? You as an owner, you as an agency owner, right? Clients are coming to you. Hey, I have a problem. I have an issue. What do you think about this type of content? Or I need my social media to grow a little bigger. Or I need more leads. I need more sales from the campaign. Okay. So, but also the CSMs being proactive and understanding the client needs and the challenges that they may face, and to ensure the success of that project, okay, of the campaign. Well, ultimately the client. So they're focused on the client. So there is a difference between a project manager versus a CSM, right? That's another question. So think of it this way. CSM is focused on the success. The primary focus is the success of the client and how they're utilizing your services and potentially other like vendors to help achieve their end goal. A project manager is really focused on that individual project. A lot of small agencies may not need a project manager. Project manager may be utilized for really sophisticated, complicated projects. So if coming from a web development standpoint, if it's more of a simple web design, not you don't really need a project manager. But if we're building, let's say, a really complicated website, let's say it's like an eBay type site, there's a lot of moving parts. There's different connections to different databases or API calls. Then and that project might take at least 6 months, 12 months to a year to 2 years to do, then yeah, you need a project manager, and you may need both. You might need a CSM and a project manager at that point. But that's further down the line when you're handling humongous projects that are crazy complicated and custom. But for the most part, CSMs, day to day, month to month, it can fill in most of that project management role. Okay. And again, their focus is maximizing client success. So they're looking at what the client's goals are and ensuring that the products and services that the agency offers is able to fulfill those things. And even for our CSMs, if we are not able to basically achieve those bullet points, maybe it's outside of our expertise, we would refer to another marketing agency or a video agency, because that's not our specialty, right? We don't produce video, so we would subcontract or refer out, because the CSM's goal is to help the end client achieve their goals. So why have a CSM, right? It's vital to agency operations and client satisfaction. Right? They're managing client relationships, they're reducing that churn, ensure consistent project delivery, allowing agency owners to focus on growth. Okay? The thing that we want to avoid is they'll call us when they need us. You know what ends up happening? They'll call you, and the time when they call you, they're telling you, I moved to a new agency, right? We decided not to run this campaign anymore. We want to stop the engagement, right? And that's never good news, right? You don't want to be blindsided by that. So having a CSM, being proactive, being there, and building that stronger relationship is the key. So you're involved, you're part of that, part of their team.
Are there any platforms or softwares that are going to help us with the CSM? Or am I like moving too fast?
Like help the CSM or finding CSMs?
Oh, so CSMs are like individuals.
Yeah, that's a role, right? Just like an executive assistant, just like a video editor, a CSM stands for the role of customer success manager.
Okay, cool. So there's no like AI software or platform such as like a ManyChat, or you can have all the clients in one database, like a CRM type of situation.
Well, that's one of the tools the CSMs would use, yeah, to basically track, right? So CSM is not a CRM, right? CSM is a role in your company. So yeah, there are tools that a CSM, right, that person in your company that's helping the clients, they would use. Like for example, we use Go High Level, which is Course Creator, 360, and then we use a different project management system called Smart Suite. But there's a ton of other tools like out there, like Notion. You could use Notion. You can use Monday.com. You can use ClickUp, right? All these different tools to manage your clients, right? I mean, you can always go back to old school and do a Google Sheet, right? But at the end of the day, a human being needs to be following up, right? Following up with your clients. You don't want to send an AI, voice over to your clients like, "Hey, how are you doing today?"
All right.
Right? Or AI, just canned messages, right? You can utilize that as your draft, but you really need a human being to set up those calls.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does it sound like a lot of work following up with your clients during a project on a weekly basis? And then once the project is, let's say, in maintenance mode or kind of just on retainer essentially beyond, let's say, the initial scope, like maybe initial 3 months, so the fourth month and beyond, you're following with the client every single month, right? You're messaging them and you're trying to set up a meeting every single month, right? To you as an agency owner, does that sound like a lot of work?
Yeah, it is a lot of work. My biggest headache personally.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I don't even have a big team. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it is, right? And that's the reality. It is a lot of work, but it is necessary. That's the thing. And this is different than hang out with your buddies and, oh yeah, I haven't talked to them in 3 months, but you can call them and then sure, no problem. Let's go hang out. It's not like that, right? You're running a business now and they're paying you. They're paying you every month, right? So if they're paying you every month and they don't hear from you, sure, you're producing videos and you're sending them reports on a monthly basis of the stats, but that's still different than a human being following up and providing that touch point. Okay. So, so as you scale, like right now, yeah, you're doing all that, and you may forget, right? Certain months, you're like, oh man, I'm overwhelmed, right? There are certain busy times. Like for us, the busiest times of the year is October and January. Okay, and the reason behind that is that in October, everyone's preparing for Q4. They're using up all their budget from this year that's left over, and then January 1st, new budget, right? New funding, like, oh, hey, I want a new website, a new project. So these are the two busiest times of the year. So, and especially during this time, Q4 and Q1, we need to follow up even more so, right? Hey, reminding certain individuals like, hey, I know it's busy. I know there's a holiday season, but remember, help them stay on track and being there for the client, saying, hey, we're here to help you, on that project that we talked about. Is this a good time? Right? Because if not, they're gonna forget about it. And when it is time, like, oh yeah, it's time to start on that campaign now. Who was it I talked to? I don't know. And then it might be Susie in the office. Like, hey Susie, you know anyone? Sure. And then boom, you just lost the project. Right. So don't want that to happen. So this is our process for a website a project. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is to show you how our CSMs are involved in every single stage, right? You can take this process and apply it to a web agency, to a content agency, a social agency, right? Your processes are somewhat similar in some ways, and you can modify it. Okay. So in our sixth step, it goes from proposal to basically ongoing maintenance, right? Proposal, discovery, design, development, deployment, and ongoing. So the first step, proposal, right? We all have to provide some sort of proposal to the prospect. And our CSM's roles, unless it's so usually what happens is if we get a lead in or a referral, I am still basically the initial point of contact. So I still talk to the person, and it's one of those things where I'm playing the closer role. Okay. And so I'm talking to the prospect, and sometimes the CSMs are part of the call, but most of the time they're not. So in this regard, I have my EA with me, and we're discussing kind of what their needs are, and sometimes we might need to build requirements for the project. And once that meeting is complete, I forward the recording over to our CSMs and provide some details. And then our CSMs will put together the quote for the web project. And and for the CSMs, they're not technical. They're not like their background. They don't have a degree in let's say web development, but they have a lot of experience now. So anything that they don't know from more of a technical aspect, they would talk to the right technical resource. So they would talk to maybe the designer, the developer, and say, all right, client's looking for this. These are the requirements. How many hours, how long do you think this will take? Okay, so they're putting together the proposal. And then from there, they're emailing to that information over to the prospect. So can I give you an idea? We have what I've just shared is essentially our SOP on how to quote a website project, and these are the steps that our CSMs are following. Preparing information gathering, requirement clarification, site and functionality listing, quotations, and review and approval. And then the next piece, they might need to introduce themselves, right, as the CSM. So that we even have an SOP on introducing yourself as a CSM. And then you can kind of see, that's an older link here. And then sending a proposal, like what does that look like, right? So our SOP on how to send the proposal, step-by-step instructions on creating that proposal. Okay, so I have these SOPs built out. I didn't even build them myself. Actually, my CSMs did, and my team did. So once the request for proposal is created from me, they would just follow these SOPs. Okay, so this is just step one. All right. Any questions before I move on?
I have a question.
Yes.
So, these SOPs, no, I guess it's just SOP questions. Just create them as you go and then link them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty simple. In the beginning, I would just create a Loom video, right, on how I create the proposals, and then have the CSMs follow, right, and do the next one, and then they'll have questions, and any questions that they have, we improve our SOP, and then over time the SOP becomes bulletproof. Step two, discovery. This is usually before the onboarding call. It's so now the client has may have signed off on the project. Sometimes I don't talk to the initial call with the client because it's our old client. It's our client that we're already managing for a project, and they're asking us, hey, we need a refresh, or we have another website that we need that needs to be built. At that point, I'm not even involved. The CSM would say, okay, great, because remember, they're talking to our CSMs. So our CSMs say, okay, cool. Let me get a better idea of what you're looking for. So this is the discovery process. So they're identifying the goals, the parameters, requirements of this project, what they're looking for, and from there, they're again following the proposal estimation after that too. But if it's a new customer and the proposal estimate is created and it's closed and it's paid off, signed, or the initial deposit's made, then the discovery is still done at the CSM stage now, because then they're notified, proposals approved, signed off, paid, and to start going into more in-depth research. Like there's a website worksheet document that gets created, all this initial information gets filled out, and then that document will follow throughout the whole project. So then there's onboarding. So there's that onboarding call where the CSM will introduce themselves and potentially another member of the team that's there, and all the individuals that are involved, and explain the whole process, kind of like what I'm explaining now, but from a CSM perspective. But instead of a CSM perspective, they're explaining from their perspective as a client.
I'm just trying to understand from agency U perspective. So is Matt considered the CSM from agency U?
He's more the coach. So as weird
Because
as it sounds, like
he kind of does
he's
some of this.
parts of it, yes, he does, yeah. So yeah, I would say so. Yeah, parts of it, he's a CSM, right? The other part, he's the coach, yeah. So
Okay.
he's providing both the CSM role, but also because agency U, their service is the education, right? The training, the coaching. So Matt is also offering the service itself.
Got you. So he just
Right.
have different
So
roles.
Yeah, so he's technically playing two different roles, right? I'm sure as Agency U grows to a certain point, then Matt would need to stay in a lane, right? And then they would have separate CSMs to kind of follow up,
Got you. Okay.
right? So that's why, like, yeah, that's a great question because from our, from our agency's perspective, yeah, our product is a website, right? And or talent acquisition. So that's our service or product. But we have a CSM that our CSMs do not create or provide the actual service or product, right? They're ensuring that the product and service is fully utilized and utilized to its fullest.
Okay,
Right.
got you. Okay, so from my perspective, um, I technically would not have to like really this it would be the CSM job to conversate with my client, and I wouldn't have to do that anymore, right?
For the most part, yeah, the CSM will basically do 80-90% of the conversations with your client.
Perfect. That's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So I mean, it's like your clients will still know you, right? You want to maintain that relationship, right? Because maybe you're the first person that they met, right? Maybe
Yeah.
someone referred them to you, and you want to maintain that good rapport. But if done correctly, your CSMs will essentially protect you from getting flooded with client requests.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
And you can do the fun things and just pop in every so often and say, "Hey, how's everything doing? Oh, hey, by the way, I'm going to this conference that's related to your industry. You want to join me, or you want to grab lunch sometime?" Right?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So Lewis asked another question about what about strategy calls. Our CSMs, depending on how complex the project is, our CSMs can do more basic strategy calls. When it comes to more complex things, I may get pulled in, but over time, I'm getting pulled in less and less and less.
So would you say it would be a great idea to have that CSM on those calls just so they can learn in the beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. During their training, I try to pull them in as much as possible. But nowadays they're so busy themselves, it's there's no time for me to pull them in anymore. So now the onboarding. So the CSMs are doing onboarding now, right? So they're onboarding the client, they're showing the client, hey, this is how it works here. This is from the start to end, this is how the website's being produced, right? And this is all the whole process. Then during the next phase is the design and development phase. So what does the CSM do? They're coordinating closely with the design and development team through production calls. So they're running daily huddles, morning huddles with with the production team, and also on a weekly basis, they're emailing our clients, providing updates like, hey, this is where we're at. This is what we need from you as a client. This is what what we're working on. All right. And then also maybe we're sharing these are bottlenecks. And then finally, this is the timeline. So we're on track, or we need additional time, or we're ahead of schedule, right? So they're providing, it's almost like they're like the GPS, right, for the client. There's no surprises. What we want to avoid. So prior, I don't know if you guys ever gotten this call before. Where are we at with this project? Oh, where are we at with that video? Where are we at with this? Right? No, that's reactive, right? Then we have to react to the client. But instead, we're being proactive and providing on a weekly basis. During the onboarding call, the client knows they're going to get an email every single Friday, every Friday. Like today, they're getting an email every Friday. And so from a client's perspective, they know, okay, well, I know stuff. If I need an emailing thing, any questions, I can email to my CSM, and if nothing else, I'm gonna get an update on Friday. Okay, so that is like the familiarity, right, of a client working with us. And then if there's any issues, we'll let them know. But also our CSMs are also holding not just our team responsible or accountable, we're holding our clients accountable. Like, hey, remember, we need your logo, we need your photos, right? I mean, we can't get photos out of thin air. So we need, these are the things that we need. And here's the checklist, right? And we're trying to, the CSMs are pushing that forward. Okay. Then after that, once the site is designed and developed, then we go into deployment. The CSM's role is to ensure smooth deployment. So for example, when it's close to deployment, the CSM's letting the client know, hey, by the way, in about a week or 2 weeks, we're getting ready to deploy. This is what it looks like. This is what the launch of the site looks like. Our team's preparing for the launch. These are all the things that need to be prepared for. If you're marketing, if you're running a campaign, you're letting your clients know that there's a new site coming up, that this will be a really, really good time. And then afterwards, this is the launch date and the time that's being launched. And then afterwards, we're doing all of these post-launch testing too. So everything is informed. The client is not surprised. It's like oh, get ready. You know, it's like being at the airport. Like, you know, get ready. We're everyone start loading into the plane, right? Or we're about to land, or we're about to take off, right? So that the CSM is providing every single step and letting the client know where they're at. So after deployment is the ongoing support. So what our CSMs would do is to provide regular check-ins. So this is where the monthly check-ins come into play. So for example, pull this up. We would ask for a monthly 15-minute call with the client. The CSM would do that, and step by step, we'll review the client account, provide the scheduling link and meeting confirmation and so forth. So they'll send out an email, and then let's see if I can pull out the email. Here we go. This is what it looks like. This is the email that gets sent out. You know, as your dedicated CSM at Design Source Media, my primary goal is to contribute actively to the success of your business. A key role of this role is to have clear understanding of your business's direction and how best I can assist in your journey. With this in mind, I'm thrilled to introduce our new monthly 15-minute strategy check-in call. Right, so that's the introduction of the 15-minute call. Remember, the site has been launched and we're following up, right? And then basically these are the two main things, right? Addressing urgent issues, business updates and changes, and strategic advice. So those are the two main things on the 15-minute monthly calls. And the clients, they you know, on a certain month, they're like, hey, no need for the call, no problem. And then it'll be the next month and the next month, right? And this keeps going indefinitely. Okay. Now, so day in life, right, of a CSM. So client communication, they're hosting client meetings, sending daily and weekly digest emails to maintain open communication. They're managing the project, what's going on, collaborating internally on CSM meetings, but also leading internal team discussions, making sure everyone's in alignment of our active projects and projects on maintenance. Then client advocacy, so managing client requests, addressing complaints, and advocating for client success. So that also means we may, the CSMs may be the ones referring to, let's say, a photographer, a videographer, another agency, another company, a social media person for that particular client of ours, because it's not something that's in our wheelhouse. Our CSM ultimately wants to help the end client, right? And also we're helping our agency partners too. Financial management, they're ensuring that, okay, well, client has requested a change that's billable. So our CSM is notifying our accounting team to ensure that that work is being billed. Okay. And then capacity, they're managing the workload, right? Austin has an awesome worksheet on this, and that's kind of where we utilize that capacity worksheet we never want to push someone beyond 80%. Okay. So the capacity of each individual team member at 80% and balancing it out with all of our team members in any areas that we're getting close to 80, 90 and even 100, then we're looking at, okay, how can we optimize? How can we improve the capacity percentage? And is it buying new tools? Is it changing our process? Is it hiring more people? Right? Our CSMs considering all that. So how CSMs help agencies run an autopilot. So you can kind of already see client retentions, referrals. Like as you can see throughout this whole process, I'm not involved very much. Maybe the first call. Okay. That's kind of where I'm at as an agency owner, right? So I might jump in, and then periodically anything that our CSM's unsure of, they would message me, right? We would talk internally, like, hey, how do you handle this? For the most part, they'll figure it out themselves, and through working with our CSMs together as a team, or with our production team or our other team members. So this is just an example of a booking link that for one of our CSMs. They'll share with our clients the book. And so here's another example, right? So this is one of our agency clients. Her name is Lauren, and she might send us a request. And we have because they're a much bigger agency client of ours, we have a separate workspace with them. And in this scenario, they're like, hey, I have a question, and our CSM Zyra would automatically respond, right? It's like, okay, well, we're still waiting on credentials and we're planning to follow up on this today, right? And then she's tagging someone else on their team, say, hey, can you assist with this? You see, before CSMs, I would have to do this crap, okay? Like, I couldn't, like, if I had to do this all day long, all right? And these requests come out of nowhere, by the way, right? And I might be in a call. I might be in a training session right now, right? Like this. Or I might be talking to another client. Then how would I even do anything else? Right? And it would interrupt my flow. So with a CSM, clients are super happy, and I'm happy. I don't have to be interrupted all day long. So streamline daily operations to free up time. So day-to-day client communications, as you can see, managing project timelines, and allows agency owners to focus on high-level strategy and business growth rather than operational details. So you can kind of see, here's an example of the daily CST call. So what is a CST? CST is our customer success team. This is our maintenance team that handles web deployments, web quality assurance, and maintenance, okay, and support, like website support and changes, like small changes. And so these are, and this is the top of every single call. We have our goals of the team, and then the agenda, the round ribbon updates. So really, this is what's really being discussed, right? Completed tasks, issues, challenges faced, list list tasks that need attention today, and assign and ensuring clarity. So that's what happens every single morning, usually 30 minutes on a Zoom call. So we just go around the table. I'm not in the meetings, but our CSMs and our technical, like our designers, developers, support team are in these calls. Maintaining customer satisfaction, regular updates, setting clear expectations. So here's an example. All right. What I just showed you in in one of the SOPs, but this is an actual email, sent to one of our client, Don, right? Of what that looks like. So that way the client can click on this link and book a meeting. Problem solving, if there's any issues, they would be notified. So if our support team, if there's an issue that they cannot resolve, or if it's a bigger issue and they see it, the CSM would basically take charge at this point. And they would handle it and escalate it or bring in additional resources, right? They're handling all that. Just like, I mean, just like, as an agency owner, right? If there's certain problems that you're facing, right? You have a few options, right? Your options are do it yourself, delegate to someone else, or hire more people, right? Hire a contractor, hire someone to solve this problem, right? Or I guess fourth option is you apologize, you can't do it, you can't do what resolve their issue and then refer them to someone else, right? So those are really your options, right? As a CSM, they're filling in that role. So here's an example of an SOP, what to do in client crisis or emergencies, right? Like what happens, critical website down or so forth. So these are our own step-by-step instructions, right? Immediate acknowledgement, sending the email, letting the client know immediately, hey, this is what's going on, internal notification, and then preliminary assessments, right? And there's other steps too, but you can kind of see when there's a fire, there's a problem, our CSMs are jumping in, taking action. Okay, we have an SOP for that. And then finally, here's the other step. The other steps: client communication, issue resolution, testing verification, and final client update, and then postmortem. So basically debrief, right? So the CSMs, another piece that they do, it's not just, oh, we fixed the problem, bye. It's we fixed the problem, but how the hell did that problem even start in the first place, right? And what do we need to do to prevent that from happening in the future, right? How do we increase our defenses, be more proactive, right? What is how did that happen? Or if it's just a one-off, it's a one-off, right? A freak accident. But the majority of the time, it's not a freak accident. It's like, okay, it's because of this thing that caused this domino effect. So we're going to work towards resolving that. And our CSMs, just imagine that, right? Every single week, they're making it's like a castle and a fortress. They're making the walls stronger. Okay. Enhancing efficiency with smart tools and processes. So they're utilizing our project management tools, Google Calendar, and so forth, and scheduling all those things and building templates. When we get a new client for a project, they're setting up all these folders. It's actually all automated now, but all these folders are created. The Google Drive link is shared, and so the client can drop their files over to the correct folder, or they can get access to certain things in the project folder. Like our project management tool Smart Suite has a lot of automations already, but it's a combination of make.com and Smart Suite and Go High Level. So we use a lot of automations in these three tools. Also, our CSMs, if they can't get a hold of someone via email, then they would use, like, for example, Go High Level to text the individual. They'll reach out, okay? And they'll continue to message. So when I said our CSMs will hold someone accountable, right? This is probably something that everyone here probably hates doing, myself included. It's like following up with clients and nagging them, because it feels like nagging, right? Nagging them about, hey, where's this? We need access, we need approval for this, all of this stuff over and over and over again, right? Our CSMs, if they don't get a response and they see that it's going to fall behind, not only will they email the person, of course, in the beginning, they'll send multiple emails, and then they'll potentially call them, and then if that doesn't work, they're going to start texting them, right? Like, think of all the work, right, that is being done. Just almost like at this point, it's like feels like babysitting, but it needs to be done because, again, the CSM's primary role objective is to take care of the client and to ensure that they achieve the goals that was requested of us, right? Like their own goals, their own company goals. Seamless collaboration, transparent communication, back and forth. So this is an example on the bottom of the weekly emails sent to the clients, the estimated project timeline. And from this day to this day, this day to this day, all the different phases. And it's always there every single Friday. All right. So overall impact is client advocate within the agency, ensuring clients' goals are prioritized, reduce the need for agency owner to be involved in every detail of the client relationship. CSMs drive project success, align team efforts with client expectations, leading to better outcomes and happier clients. And for agency owners, hiring a CSM means it can scale, right? You can't scale if you're just doing everything yourself. Scale your business without being bogged down by operational tasks, enabling more focus on growth. So when should you hire? Any questions? Does everyone understand now what a CSM does in an agency?
Okay, real quick. You had brought this up, Dave, early on, and I was wondering again, the crossover between project manager and CSM.
Yeah.
Could you just make a note on that again?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, I guess, Maximilian, can you remind me what type of agency do you run? So I'll give you a better analogy.
Sure, I'm doing full service planning, producing, and posting of social media content. And
Okay.
with this new offer, it's gonna with Agency U, the authority funnel is very much gonna be a part of that.
Yeah. And is your offering more productized? Is it more consistent from client to client to client, or is it really, really custom and unique to each of the clients?
From now on, it's going to be productized. My active clients, it's a little custom. There's really one that's pretty custom, but everything from now on is going to be productized for sure.
Okay. So think of it this way. If for a creative agency, if you're like working with clients and you're essentially like doing like a documentary for them, okay, that level of video production, then you need a project manager, right? There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of changes, and someone with a ton of experience in managing a large project. Whereas a CSM, if it's productized and it's pretty consistent throughout, yeah, there's certain aspects that's unique, but as long as a CSM can talk to an expert like yourself or someone on the team to help facilitate that, then you really only need a CSM. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, and for a little more context, I'm going to be focusing the deliverables on short form video. So
Yeah.
only one of my offers is going to be like where we actually shoot it. The other one is done with you, and the third one is, creative partner model. So I think only in that top tier product offer is like where we actually have to have a production, like a shoot, and like a producer who's making sure that the shoot happens and all those
Yeah.
moving parts.
Yeah. And so for that, you would need a project manager, right? You don't need it, but you would most likely be the project manager, right? If you don't have a budget to hire a project manager just to manage that.
Yeah, I'm pretty used to being the producer of like video shoots, but
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. So the CSM is more of more for your prioritized, offers.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And Zoe asked, do you have a job description you could share? Yeah. CSM job description? Sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we have a ton of yeah, we can share that. I'm gonna continue. When should you hire a CSM? That's usually another question, right? Usually it's when your agency is in growth mode, right? And I would recommend after an EA and two technical hires. So if you're a video agency, after you hire an EA and you have two video editors, or if you're in my case, a web design agency, I would have my EA and then I would have web designers and web developers before I bring on a CSM. Okay, because by the time I have a CSM, so I don't throw them in the deep end, we have a pretty strong productized offer. I know what we're offering, and then I know what to look for from a client's like pain points that our product or service can really help. And at that point, it's easy to teach and transfer that knowledge over to a CSM. Okay. Does that make sense? Questions?
Yes, I kind of have a question.
Yeah.
Because I was on one of the calls, you know, when you broke down an executive assistant.
Yeah.
Now I'm on this call, so I'm kind of confused on like who I should hire first. Because like until I got on this call, I was thinking an executive assistant, but now I'm on this call, now I'm thinking like a CSM. Just because like for me as an agency owner, I don't have a it's just three of us. You know, I have an editor and then, you know, I have a contract photographer. And, you know, I'm doing like the video and stuff. I work with restaurants, like commercials and stuff like that for restaurants. Um, Now the like I was saying in the beginning of the call, like the client success part is like my biggest headache. Like
Yeah.
that's like the biggest headache for me. Like, man, it makes my head hurt sometimes. And so yeah, I was just kind of confused. So maybe you can give me a little clarity on
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. So with the difference between an EA and a CSM is that the EA is focused on you as the agency owner and helping you, right? Free up your time as much as possible. Whereas the CSM is focused on the client and ensuring that the client is utilizing your company's services as much as possible. It doesn't mean the EA cannot do what some of the CSMs are doing. As a matter of fact, it's actually one of the later slides here is that one way to find a CSM is promotion of an EA. Okay.
Wow.
So you start off as an EA, okay? You hire an EA. Imagine this, right? You're training him or her over the years. They know everything about you. They have access to your emails, your calendar, and everything. And they know on a first name basis of all the clients and what their interests are because you know they're they're the middle person, right? Communicating and they're the glue, right? Because they're your EA. And then you're teaching your EA like, oh, can you help me put together this proposal? Sure, no problem. Oh, can you on a weekly basis email our clients, see if they want to meet with me, all right? Meet with Taj. And if they do, okay, great, set an appointment, right? And then I'll jump on a 15-minute call with our clients. That shouldn't be a problem for you, okay? Because remember, your EA is freeing up all your other time. So spending 15 minutes with clients on a Zoom call or maybe a coffee meetup, that should be okay. And
Okay.
then the next step after maybe 6 months, 12 months later, right? Your operations a lot smoother now, right? Your EA is putting together SOPs and all that. Then you have a choice. If your EA wants to be a CSM, it will be a really easy transition, right? Or you hire a CSM and your EA stays as your EA, and your EA is now training your new CSM with all and providing all these SOPs that was created for from the past 6 to 12 months.
Okay, got you.
See what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I would transition or bring on CSMs, right? If you don't have an EA, I don't recommend just hiring a CSM and not have an EA. Because then you have most likely you don't have SOPs, your calendar is probably out of whack, and you're still having to answer emails from clients, right? And you still have to forward. So you might be on a shoot and a client emails you or calls you, and you can't forward that information over to the correct team member because you're busy because you have
Yeah.
no EA.
Okay, got you. Okay, so let me ask you this. So the EA, they can still handle some of those client questions and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's super basic, the client might say, it depends on the client, right? Hey, when's the shoot? Right. The EA may already have the information in in Notion or in your project management system. So as long as you teach and train your EA on where to look for the information and is correct, then your EA can do that for you.
Okay, got you. Okay.
Okay. So the next thing is usually the question of cost, right? How much does a CSM cost? So in the if we were to place a CSM in the Philippines and provide benefits, it's usually around $1,600 a month. Okay. If you find someone in the US, it's going to be like 3-4 times more. Easy. You could hire a contractor. That'll be it may be less depending on where they're from, right? Maybe a little bit less, but I would say budget around $1,600 a month if you're thinking of hiring a CSM in the Philippines. So Lewis's question, right? Where do I find CSMs? Number one, internal promotion from EA or technical role, right? They could be a designer, they could be a developer, right? Also a really good fit for the CSM position. You want to find someone that is really comfortable talking to people, right? Jumping on Zoom calls, and it's focused on solving problems, like that mindset of a problem solver. Another option is you could find someone local, right? That's going to be a lot more expensive, right? There are other options: online jobs, .ph, Facebook groups. Of course, you can always give us a call. DSM Talent, we can help you out too. Okay? Just understand that if you don't have an EA, you don't have SOPs in place, your training, your onboarding will be much, much longer for your CSM.
Oh, I was gonna say, I guess like the job description, like what titles are we looking for? Because if I go to like online jobs, do I put CSM, kind of like graphic designer, I know what that is, but CSM,
Yeah.
like, do they know what that is?
Yeah, I mean, customer success manager is getting to be more popular in their role. You could put that down. You could also put in project manager. Some people are more familiar with project manager, in that role. Or a team, some sort of like yeah, I would say CSM or project manager would be roles that people are more familiar with.
Do you have a like how in agency U we can go to Notion and then go to the specific section, for like the Loom calls and stuff like that? Do you have one of those for the EA and the CSM inside of agency U?
Yeah, actually there should already be a job description, but what type of information are you looking for?
Yeah, like how Austin, he'll have like, the breakdown of how to do it, like just like further information.
How to do what?
Like it could be anything. Like for example, like maybe automations for CC 360. Or do you have one of those for this? Like the CSM and EA?
Like how to
Like
It's
description.
like a long video, like a
Yeah,
page
exactly.
on Agency U.
Oh, okay, okay,
Mhm.
okay, okay. Not for this particular role. No, I have a more generalized piece in the agency U like training module. So I pretty much worked on most of the training modules for within the AU for talent acquisition, but not in particular for the CSM. Pretty much today's session would be the information, right? Like you're talking about like information like I provide today, but in the module form.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. No, not. I didn't do like a like a custom video for that. But that's kind of like point of the sessions. So but that's a good idea. And also we can link this to the CSM role inside, in the AU module.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So the summary, remember, CSMs handle everything from client onboarding to ongoing support, allowing agency owners to focus on high levels tasks, ensuring smooth process, strong CSMs to improve client retention, enable upselling, cross-selling, and drive agency growth. So a dedicated and well-structured CSM team builds long-term client relations, promotes retention, and allows the agency to grow effortlessly, putting the agency on autopilot. So I want you to think of it this way, right? Like we all have competitors, right? We all have clients can choose a lot of different options, but also they're working with a lot of different vendors too, right? So if you want to be the top 5%, right, of companies, right, and this is one of the differentiators, right? Even for you, right? You interact with a lot of companies, right? Businesses every day, right? How many of those companies that you've interacted in the past 30 days, right, will actually have this level of follow-up, right, and support for you, right? It's probably less than 10%, 5%, right? So that's why I really focus on providing that next level of service and retention and follow-ups. So then even if the client, right, wants to go, right, it is kind of painful because they know that most of the other vendors or companies that they go to won't deliver at this level. They won't have someone to follow up with them, right? They don't have, someone to be more proactive and take care of them. So that's the thing, right? And that's why CSMs, I see it as a critical role because I know I can't do it. I can't be consistent enough. My responsibilities as a CEO or as a president of the company um, would take me in different areas. Right? I should be working on the business. Let's see. So Maximilian, question: how long do you estimate this whole process takes to complete? Starting with hiring an EA and training EA, two technical staff, and then CSM. So the whole process, mm, if you're new to this, 2, 3 years. Yeah. Depends, right? I mean, um, how it depends on your experience managing teams, leading teams. Okay. And your success in hiring the right people. If you hire the wrong people, which I have plenty, right? Hired hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and unfortunately had to let go of a lot. Um, and I've learned a lot from that. And so every time you hire someone and you had to let someone go, it feels like you're taking one step forward and two steps back. Okay. Because it creates chaos and it pisses clients off and it creates, uncertainty in the organization. Right. Um, for example, it's your own leadership too. Right. I, I, I was just talking to an agency owner and I asked them, and their business partner just left. And I asked, okay, well, and they needed my help to jump in and figure out what's going on with their team. And I asked them, okay, well, did did you have one-on-ones with your team? And this is their response. They're like, oh, one-on-ones. Well, the previous partner, the partner that left, well, he didn't believe in those. They would just have 2 weekly team calls, and that's it. It's like, yeah, there's your problem. Like, how do you know, from an individualized basis, how each team member is doing and how can they provide feedback? What you expect them to tell, the whole company, like all the challenges and problems that they're having and they're facing, right? Including their personal life, right? You can't do that. So you got to have your one-on-ones. You have to get to know the person and you can't have like one template or one thing fits all kind of thing. So that's why, like, I digress. When you say how long it takes for the whole process, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, right? It depends on, I don't know how much experience you have, but this is assuming you don't have any experience building a larger team, and hiring and training and developing, right? Coaching. Um, so that's why I said, 2, 3 years, if not longer. Took me a long time, even to get to a team of 13. Well, I hope this has been valuable, and we have a better idea now what a CSM does. So feel free to message me, or and let me know, where your thoughts are and if you have any other questions. Thank you. See y'all later. Have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.